The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max NXT Review.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another great edition of the W2M NXT review for March 1st, 2018. That's right. We're already in that month of March, and we are excited because we are on a new path for NXT, of course. You know, we're kind of building to WrestleMania weekend, so they've got a lot of new feuds kind of starting up. We got the Dusty Rhodes Challenge heating up, too. We're getting ready for that to come up soon. A lot of cool stuff going on in the world of NXT. I, of course, am Gary Vaughan. Along with me is your host, Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
Oh, Paul, of course, like I said, there's a lot of things going on in NXT, but I'm just hyped, man, because it seems like right now, at least in NXT, and I would even give a nod over to that 205 Live brand, that we've got some cool things going and some good matches that, you know, we get a chance to talk about it week in, week out. That just makes me so happy. It makes me excited to do this show, man.
You know, yeah, it's always fun time to see what's going on here in developmental, quote-unquote, NXT. Always got something cool cooking on a show for you every week, which is nice, you know, and as you just said, 205 Live is starting to find its way there, too, with using some of its own NXT talent to make those shows just a little bit better.
I know, right? I it's just a special treat. I'm like, yes, I get my NXT guys over here too. This is brilliant. So, yeah, really, really happy with that. And, you know, of course, we do all these great review shows for you every week. Want to make sure if maybe you're a first-time listener, you don't know that we do them. Paul and I do the Raw review and the NXT review. Harry Broadhurst, Brandon Bisco being a man, I can't even get my host right, and of course, I said Larry.
Yeah, you went dead on me there for a couple seconds too, so I don't even know if they caught your goof or not.
Oh, good. Hey, I didn't mess up at all. It was just the audio quality. Anyway, so you heard Raw, NXT, Paul and I. Harry Broadhurst, Brandon Biscobing, and Liz Pigolosi all do an excellent job covering SmackDown Live and 205 Live. So go check out those review shows. And, of course, our regular episodes of Wrestling to the Max every week. The way to do that, W2Mnet.com. Simple as that. Go on there, find those podcasts, and find all the other great content that the website has to offer. Also, if you're listening to us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, or any other place that you can find us on the internet or on podcasting networks, just make sure you hit that subscribe button for Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network, which will get you plenty of other great wrestling podcasts and some other subjects as well. And once again, 411mania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com have some great content as well. They support us. Go support them, guys. But yeah, I mean, Paul, we've got an NXT that I'm really excited about talking about. Let's get into it, buddy.
Let's do so. First of all, I also need to apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm a little foggy on how some of this happened. Just work with me. So
I like the pure honesty here, Paul. Just like, you know, if, whatever happens, happens. It's good.
So we open the show. We get a sweet highlight package from everything that went down in last week's main event. Johnny Gargano being ousted from NXT due to Tommaso Ciampa and his trusty crutch, and that, of course, means we won't get to see Gargano in NXT anymore. Terrific video package. And fun fact, Gary, Ciampa told everybody on social media today that WWE asked him if they could sell his new shirt, and he told them no. What a dick.
Wow, this guy is brilliant. There's no better marketing than that, right? Saying that, no, you can't sell my merch.
Yeah.
I love it. So there you go. Ciampa, you really are a freaking jerk. But yeah, that's cool. And the worst thing, I think, besides not allowing us to buy his t-shirt, is getting rid of Gargano from NXT. That's just a really big bummer. You really hated watching William Regal sit there, and, you know, of course, he was so solemn, signing the paperwork to say bye-bye to Johnny Gargano, and it really is sad. It's also kind of funny to see the referee there, you know, I'm so sorry, so sorry. You know, it's kind of funny the way that all worked out. But I'm so glad they showed that, Paul. I'm glad that we got to look into that little process because sure, it's something behind the scenes, but I think it's kind of really valuable to the storyline and to showcase the sadness of Johnny Gargano and of course the people around him. I think this is really getting us excited to think about seeing how evil Ciampa can be, because you said it plenty of times in the past. This guy comes from a history of being the psycho killer. We've yet to really see that here in NXT. I hope that's what they're gearing us for in the future to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, it hasn't really been next level stuff. I would say that they're doing an excellent job of telling the story, though, and I think all of the little extra bits that you just mentioned, they want to send home how sad this is, and you could do that by showing how everybody that's around Gargano is sad that he's leaving. He obviously had a major impact, all these other great things on the brand, and now that's gone. And we can all look at Ciampa with angry eyes because he took all that away. So easy, and very good storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. And, this has just been a blast to watch. And, of course, this is coming off a big hiatus with Ciampa being injured and finally coming back. So I think this is the right time. This is the right place. You really feel like, there's some momentum here. And where is it going? That's the biggest question for all of us. Where is it really headed? I don't know, but that's the pleasure and the enjoyment of it. It just, the fact that we can't predict this, I don't know if, like I said, new listeners may not know this, but if you listen to us on a weekly basis, you've heard us talk about recently that WWE is kind of predictable. Elimination Chamber was probably the easiest pay-per-view to predict in the last many, many years, I would have to say. So the predictable stuff is old. That's what I love about NXT. It's not so predictable.
Mm-hmm. And then after all that, we go to ringside, Velveteen Dream taking on Tyler Bate, as this has sort of been in the works for a couple weeks now. I think it's pretty easy to tell where this is going. You get Velveteen Dream going over a little north. 10 minutes with that big Purple Rain elbow drop to get the victory here. I was expecting more, I think is sort of where I was left with this. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Bate winning. I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with Dream winning. Jesus, I don't have a problem with Bate going on a losing streak, but I was kind of hoping we'd get a little bit better match than what we got here.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you go into this, you do expect things, and I think really honestly, they're all in the, 7-star range because in our minds, these guys are really good. You're thinking they're going to overproduce, but that's not going to be the case. We're not even going to get to that beautiful 5-star. What's going to happen here, kind of coming in, that they're going to give you something about halfway because they're saving it to a bigger day, or they just kind of want to give you a sneak peek of what could happen in the future. And I think that's the expectations I kind of walked into this thing with. So I was happy with it. I didn't love it like you. I think my expectations, though, were at a lower level because I kind of thought this is kind of weird that they're putting this on just a regular episode of NXT, right? Especially with their teasing. And I don't know if this continues. I kind of hope it does. I like Tyler Bate a lot. This guy is so talented. He's got such a great, just technique about his entire skill. He's just pure British wrestling. And to match up against a guy like Velveteen Dream, it's just a lot of fun. I think this was good, like you're saying, but I think both of us agree, not what we really want. And that's this beautiful match that we know these two guys can have.
Right. After that, we cut to Paul Ellering, who cuts promo about the Authors of Pain winning the Dusty Rhodes Classic once again to get back their tag team championships. Overall, I thought this was fine. It's more of your usual stuff. All that great stuff. And then after that, we get to see Adam Cole squash Cesar Bononi, basically. And then they all do a beatdown on him. And when I say they, I mean the Undisputed Era, who, of course, were at ringside with Mr. Cole.
I thought this was really, really interesting for the fact that, you've got a group like Undisputed Era that has, let's be honest, really talented guys, but none of them are super big, right? None of them are giants. None of them really kind of match up against some of the bigger superstars in NXT. And for them to add a guy like Cesar Bononi, you kind of think to yourself, not a bad plan. If you add a guy like that, that means you got some huge muscle to take on some of these other big guys, that we've seen come to the doors of NXT, and some of these future big guys will be coming into this roster in the near future. So this was a nice touch. I kind of liked it because, I thought, wow, maybe this is something that's going to happen that I didn't really expect. But, of course, when they just take down Bonyoni and just do their thing like always and disappoint the kid and really, put him to shame, I think it just shows you the ruthlessness and, of course, the intelligence of the Undisputed Era. And I kind of liked it. Sure, it was really nothing giant. It really didn't do anything. But at least it kind of gave you the impression of what the Undisputed Era is all about. And I like that. I like that. Let's be honest. It's sometimes you do need to be reminded of what these guys are about.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of left at the end kind of going, well, what's the point? Everybody beats Cesar Bonyoni. You don't need to kill the kid, but Cole and company thought different. So
yeah, but that's the point. I mean, that's what they're about. They really don't care. Mm-hmm. They like to break your heart. That's another thing I like about it. They like to tease. They like to break your heart and make you really feel like, oh, I'm valuable to somebody. And then they rip the rug right out from underneath you, and then you're out cold. So it is what it is. It's kind of fun for them to tease a young guy like this. Let's see where this continues on. But as we said here right now, not a bad spot. I didn't love it. I'm not saying I thought it was over the moon great, but I think I kind of understand where they're going here.
I mean, that's fair. If this turns into something great, I mean, Cesar, they clearly want to do something with this guy at some point, but he's still looking, I mean, obviously he's still young and kind of green to me, but, if this is just here to show you the Undisputed Era will do anything as long as they have the numbers game, then that's fine too. We get a video package for Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Street Profits, however, get a Street Talk segment to talk about the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Of course, they are going to be in it as well. And then we get to the aforementioned match, which has Shayna Baszler winning in about 7 minutes or so. And I don't want to say I'm scratching my head, right? Because clearly this is here to position Baszler to get ready to rematch Ember Moon down the line. And getting a strong win over Kairi, who obviously beat her during the Mae Young Classic and all that stuff, and there's all that history there to deal with. She's overcome that sort of demon, right? And now she can sort of move on, and says so basically in the post-match, too, that she's either going to leave with the NXT Women's Championship when she faces Moon again, or she's going to leave with one of Ember Moon's arms. Or legs. She's not really specific.
Whatever one she does, all that matters is that she's victorious, at least in her eyes. And you know what? This did kind of leave me scratching my head. I understand you want Shayna Baszler to come off looking really strong. You want her to continue on the momentum that she has. But the thing is once again, this is kind of one of those NXT things I don't understand all the time. I talked a little bit about this last week when it came to, I can't even think of his name, No Way Jose. And here you are with Kairi Sane, basically a new star, someone who you expect to be on the upper echelon in the women's division for NXT. And then you have Shayna Baszler, someone who you can tell is, decent in the ring, but not really all that polished, coming in and beating someone like her. And I just didn't understand that completely. I really wanted a DQ, right? That's what I expected out of this. Didn't expect a victory for Shayna Baszler. I get it. Once again, it makes her look strong, but I think to my thought process, it doesn't compute for the fact that, once again, Kairi Sane is supposed to be on the upper echelon. Now you're telling me she's under Shayna Baszler.
I mean, I think they're all on that same level is sort of the point here. My big head-scratching thing is sort of what are you doing with Kairi at this point? Because she came in, won the Mae Young Classic, and then didn't really do much anything until it was time to qualify for that Fatal 4-Way. And then she goes back to not really doing anything, and now suddenly she's back in the title picture, but now Shayna Baszler beats her again. So, you haven't positioned her in a way that you did with Gargano when you started doing this, right? Gargano had all this attention and all this good feeling going towards him. I don't think Kairi has really established herself all that much on the roster yet, and you taking I think this is sort of a big loss. I don't know if her taking it clean like this, as you mentioned, is necessarily the smartest of ideas. But it is NXT. I have complete faith that they can rebuild basically anybody at this point. So just left scratching my head and wondering, is this really the right call here? After all of that, we cut to our main event segment, which is Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Zelina Vega basically putting themselves over here at the start. It's promo stuff. Almas and even gets some cheap shots in against Gargano, saying that he kept coming after him and he kept losing to him because he is the best, and starts calling Gargano Johnny Jobless, which I had a good chuckle at. And as they're turning to leave, Aleister Black shows up. We get the big stare down, and then here comes Killian Dane. We got a big brawl between those two as Almas watches, and Dane ends up getting to stand tall at the end after his little running crossbody thing. So get some hype for that match, which I think they said is next week between Dane and Aleister Black, which I'm really looking forward to. And, of course, Almas getting every chance to look like the supreme douchebag that he is also great.
It really is. And, Zelina Vega does an excellent job here. They both, do their thing. So I really, what else can I say about that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they present themselves well. I think most importantly here, you definitely understand that Aleister Black and Killian Dane are vying for that championship. They made it known. And once again, this isn't the first time. Once again, here we are. And I cannot wait for that match. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I think Killian Dane has got a lot to offer, and I really hope he showcases that next week against, of course, Aleister Black. Trust me, if it was next week already, I would not be disappointed because I want to see that match. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid ending for the episode because you live and you die sometimes about what happens in that main event, and I think to hear you look at it and say, man, that NXT championship really matters.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you still, like we say, the roster's very top heavy. You have all these people sort of waiting in line for their chance to gun for the title, and you got two great candidates right here. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Can't wait for that clash, and that's going to do it for this episode of NXT, Gary. Yeah, for sure. And so, making sure everyone knows if you want to hear more of our NXT shows or maybe some of the other episodes that I mentioned earlier, like, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, 205 Live, or any other of the great reviews, make sure you go to W2Mnet.com. It's the place where you go get all that content. Plus, you'll also find our regular episodes of Wrestling to the Max. We'll be doing our part 2 actually tonight. If you're actually listening to this, it's already out there. So go check it out. It'll be episode 288, part 2. Make sure you get involved, of course, by finding us on W2Mnet.com and, of course, through basically any podcasting platform out there, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbeam, heck, Stitcher. We are everywhere. Just hit that subscribe button over at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network, whatever one you choose. Just go do it now. And also make sure you give our friends over at 411mania.com and last word on ProWrestling.com a visit as well. They do a great job. Well, that's our show. Until we catch you guys next time. He's Paul Leazar. I'm Gary Vaughan, and we will catch you guys down the road. Have a good one, guys.
The previous podcast is a W2Mnet.com original podcast. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.